Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with
Dave.
And today we're going to talk about DM tools, what to work on.
What are we going to work on today?
Well, every campaign has a place and places to go, so you really need to know...
Wait a minute, speaking of places to go, why don't you guys go down to the description where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So since every campaign, starts off at a place, you need places to go. You need to work on your map. You need to work on, what's in the surrounding area. If your campaign plans to cover a great span of distance, you need to know what's in the way. You need to know what's at point A and what's at point B. Our Griffin Gaff campaign, our campaigns, tend to, be narrowed into a certain area, and every once in a while we've stepped out of the circle and we've added some extra points here and there.
So you're talking about a highly detailed, completely fleshed out and fully done map?
No.
Oh.
There's no point in doing your entire map with, oh well, this is the terrain here and the terrain there. This is every little nuance and tribe and little feature and waterway.
So what you're saying is points of interest that the player characters would actually know about in the beginning of the game.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you're also going with, as you add them, you would just add them to the map.
Correct.
And it can be vague, and it doesn't have to be fully fleshed out. Just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
In your town, like there are certain places you just know your players are going to go. And we actually did this in the town. We said, okay, well, they need a place to buy gear from, so we had a blacksmith.
Yes.
We had 3 choices for taverns or inns that they could go to
mm-hmm.
and get their supplies. Later, the Church of Light was added.
Right.
Which is a good example of something we could actually done better, because we didn't put a defined thing. It was like, oh, we need a church here somewhere of some sort.
Right. Well, initially when our campaign started, it was just three player characters. No one had religion. So there wasn't a cleric in the party, so we didn't need to worry about it. Well, the first time someone says, well, I want to go to a temple to talk to somebody, I'm like, well, we at that point in time didn't have a fully fleshed out religion pantheon. So I was like, well, I'm gonna on the fly, I'm just gonna put that this is a since we are not a city, this is not a full metropolis.
Yeah,
we just have one non-denominational Church of Light. They worship the good people here, and any that wish to pray to their gods and goddesses. Here's a place to do it.
But even an on the fly decision like that can be made interesting in the sense that now I envision a church where we have a couple, we have our Father Frelier that's always mm-hmm. there, and I don't even think we named what deity he's a patron of.
He doesn't worship any one particularly. He, in my opinion, since I created him, he actually worships the pantheon of good, as he would call it. So he pays homage to all of them.
So I kind of see visiting priests, kind of circulating in and out of this church,
mm-hmm.
so that when they may just decide to stay. And maybe stay for days, weeks, months, or years, and then leave and just serve the church
mm-hmm.
and basically the people of the town,
right?
In addition to doing whatever else they do, and that's kind of how in my mind how that kind of formulated and what's the word I'm looking for?
How it came to be.
Yeah. So that's the picture that my imagination painted
mm-hmm.
when you initially described the church, and I've carried that on a little bit too in my Underdark game.
Mm-hmm.
And except for when you guys went there, there was shrines all over the place to the different deities.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go there and just worship all of them, or you can pay homage to a specific deity,
mm-hmm.
and or it might be that you can find a specific priest there, or maybe you won't, but either way they're kind of almost like an army chaplain. No matter what faith or denomination, they're kind of there to help you either way.
Right. And that's kind of the angle I was looking for. if you're a goodly person and you've taken up a life of service, you are going to do that type of stuff. Now, not every person who worships or serves at a temple or church is a cleric. They're not going to all be like, oh, I've got healing magic. Woo, look at this. But
that's just an example. That's just one example of how, like, having a vague outline of what's there in the map per se can lead to other more interesting decisions. Like, and then also, you could also allow your players to also, start filling out some of the details for you as well when they come up with ideas. And our map has grown that way as well. When one player mentioned, I'm going to go to the place with the good bread, and it kept coming up over and over again. So we actually had to name the place with the good bread. So now it has a place on the map.
Right.
We have there was the Mayor Manor in the town, right? Which it's something that needed to be there, but now there's also basically a city hall where the council meets, because our town didn't have a council before. It just had a mayor, and because of things in the campaign that happened, now there's the mayor's manor, and he still holds his official title, but there's also a council that works in conjunction with the mayor. So again, that's another place that needed to be put on the map, and it doesn't have to be completely fleshed out. It's just enough to know that we know it's there.
Now, Dave is using the example of how we fleshed out the city. Now, if you're running a more wilderness game, the same way that we fleshed out the city by having things happen within the game, you can be adding these features to your larger map. Okay, well,
this works on any scale.
You guys go to the ruins. Okay, well, now I'm going to put ruins over here. Okay, well, you've left the ruins, and rather than head back to town, you follow the cultist, and he goes into the forest. Okay, well, now I need a forest over here. So you can keep expanding your map as the campaign unfolds, and it doesn't matter whether it's wilderness or city.
Yeah, and we've like all along on our quote-unquote Griffin map, there have been things that have kind of been set in stone, and there have been other things that are just kind of vague. Like, we know off in this direction there's a dwarven kingdom. We don't detail or flesh that out that much because it hasn't been used that much.
Right.
We know there's also our Karsha Pathon, which is our elven kingdom, which again is the same thing. We just vaguely know where it's at. And then we have, for the longest time, it was just known as the chaos phenomenon. And then after a year or so of gameplay, the chaos phenomenon became a portal to the dragon realm.
Right.
Well, up around that portal to the dragon realm, there's now a fort that holds that position, and that's where travelers will have to pass through before they can go in and out of the portal itself. And as you can imagine, as that builds up, there will be other things that build up around it to support it. We had, something else, another chaos thing that happened, and it changed the landscape again, and now that is actually the lair of, a monster that was altered forever by being struck by chaos lightning, and he's become an NPC. In the campaign. And so you just need a kind of general idea when you start out with your mapping. You don't have to do everything at once, and there's always a possibility your players will leave that region and never come back.
Right. But if if you've got this situation where we have two DMs going right out of the same city, or if you come back to another campaign, or if the players eventually come back to the area, you've got things that are fleshed out, and it's not wasted work.
Right. Well, yeah, it's never wasted work, because if you're going to play in that campaign again, but the other thing is to not do too much. Like,
right.
I wants to do things that you're not going to use until down the road, because if they do leave, they go somewhere else, they die, they stop playing in the game. You haven't made these things that aren't going to be used. At least if you're using things, if you've made things that have been used at least once in the game and then they leave, it's not a big deal. It was never wasted. It just they're just not using it again.
Right.
In my opinion, it's there. It's part of the story. Yeah, it's possible it could even be ingrained in the players' memories.
Right.
So it can live on even if they never go back.
Indeed.
So what is your style for mapping? Are you guys like full-blown cartographers? You're doing everything all at once, or are you going to take our advice and keep it light? It's also Lazy Dungeon Master talks about that as well. Yeah, add as you need it. Keep it vague. You only need a sentence or two per thing that's not being used right now. Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can follow us on Instagram.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.